Hey, it's Dan here. And today we're going to continue our discussion about courage. And today we're going to focus in on action. And here's the truth. You can't think your way out of fear. You can read a book about fear. You can journal about fear. You can pray about fear. But all of these things are good and useful. But none of them by themselves will shrink fear for very long. The only thing that actually shrinks the fear, the thing you're afraid of doing, is also the thing that when you do it, takes the fear's power away. So Mel Robbins, she has this thing of the 5-second rule. And the idea is simple. When you have an impulse to act on something, you have about 5 seconds before your brain shuts you down with a reason why not to do it. So you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then boom, you move. Because if you feel, if not, you're not going to do it. You're going to freeze and it'll never be done. You're not going to feel ready. So when you get to 1, you go, put it into action. So here's something. This is like a basic training story, all right? Everybody has basic training stories. But this one's kind of hits with everybody. The first day you're there, you get off the bus and they're yelling at you. They're screaming at you. You have no clue what's going on. You kind of had an idea from your recruiter, but you weren't briefed on all of it and they didn't give you the reality. But you're tired. You got there late at night. You're scared. You're wondering, what did I just sign up for? And by the end of the day, you have done 100 things you didn't think you were going to do that morning. You weren't given the option to think about it. You were told to move, and then you moved again, and then you moved again. And the day got done. And then the next day you got up and you did it again, thing after thing after thing after thing. By the end of basic training or boot camp, that thing that scared you on that first day, it felt normal. Not because you got rid of the fear, because you moved and you moved through it enough times that the fear lost its grip. And that model applies to every fear that you're sitting on, especially the ones that you're sitting on right now. The reason fear feels so big when you're sitting, it just amplifies by stillness. The longer you sit and you think about things, that the things that you're scared to do, the bigger that thing becomes in your head. You build it up. You imagine the worst case scenario. You rehearse, you picture the embarrassment. By the time you've spent a week thinking about whether to make a phone call, the phone call has grown into this giant scary thing in your head. And then you finally make the call. It takes like 90 seconds and it was fine. That is fear's whole trick. It needs you to sit with it. And it dies the moment you move. So here's the move. The smallest possible step. You don't have to do the whole thing today. You just have to do something. Something small enough that that voice in your head can't stop you. Something almost embarrassingly small. If you want to start a business, you don't start off by writing the business plan today. You send out one text to one person who might be a customer, and that's it. One text. The voice in your head won't waste any energy stopping you from sending one text, because that one text, it's too small. Your brain doesn't matter. And so you do it. And then suddenly you've done something and that momentum starts. If you want to get in shape, you don't spend 3 hours at the gym today. You don't jump into a 3-hour workout every day. You can do 10 push-ups before you brush your teeth. 10. That's it. You do it in the morning. You can do it before bed, maybe after lunch. Try to get that blood flowing after lunch. But that voice can't stop you from doing 10 push-ups. You just do them. And tomorrow you do it again. You do 10 more. And eventually you find yourself walking into a gym because you've built up this identity of somebody who's working out. And you are somebody who works out. It all started with 10 simple push-ups. So if you want to reconnect with somebody, you don't have to write them this novel letter explaining your whole history since you last saw them. That's way too daunting, and you're never going to do that. But you can send them a 4-word text. Hey, been thinking about you. That's it. That voice can't stop you from hitting send. And once you hit send, the momentum moves forward. So The principle, it's simple. The size of the action does not matter. The act of the moving matters. So once you move once, you're no longer in that chair. Once you're out of that chair, the next step is smaller. Oh, excuse me. That next step, it's smaller when you're not sitting, and you just keep going. So if you stop sitting and thinking about it, you're gonna keep moving. Here's another thing. So sometimes that action you take, it's not gonna work. You'll send that text to a person and they won't respond. You'll do the workout and you're gonna be sore. You'll pitch the idea to somebody and they're gonna say no, they're gonna pass. But that's part of it. The point's not that every action works. The point is that action keeps you moving. And a person in motion has options. A person frozen, if they're frozen in fear, they don't have any options. They're just sitting there. So here's the homework for today. I want you to do this one thing tonight, right before you go to bed. One thing you've been most afraid to do. Write it down. Write it down in the smallest possible step you could take towards achieving it. Not the next big step, not the whole process, the smallest step possible. Something so small that the voice in your head is not even going to find a reason to fight with you on it. And then you do that one thing. You can do it tonight, first thing in the morning. You just do that one. And then tomorrow morning, you do another small thing. Dreams get built one tiny action at a time. That's how everything meaningful in the human history has ever been built. Like the Wright brothers, they didn't just wake up and poof, there was an airplane and they said, let's go fly this thing. No, they started off with the idea and then they took one step. That was it. One step at a time. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about something a little bit more tricky. Sometimes the fear shows up and it's wearing a costume, and we call that costume wisdom. So it sounds smart. It sounds prudent. It sounds responsible. And it's still fear talking. We're going to learn how to spot it and what to do with it. And then Friday, we wrap up this whole discussion of courage with the idea that courage is a muscle that you can build. So for today, take that one small step, the smallest step possible. Move once. The fear will start to shrink as soon as you take that one step. Just do it. Maybe watching this video was step one. Now what's step two? Let's put it into action. So have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.